Hi there. Welcome to this episode of The Trading Bell. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you. My name is Maalika, Kazia. Today on the hot seat, we've got Mwenda Thuranira, the founder and CEO of Myspace Properties. Myspace Properties actually began in Mombasa in around 2008, and now they've also moved to Nairobi. It's been over 10 years, and they've joined the NSE Ibuka Acceleration and Incubation Program. It's been about a year since they've joined. So where is the company now? And more importantly, when it comes to properties, landlords and property managers, what is happening with the issue of rent? Where do they stand? He can give us a lot of insights there, because many Kenyans are going to be having a challenge in meeting that rent payment on time, especially this month. So what is his take on that? We're going to find out much more and that as well. But first, take a look at his profile.
Mwenda Thuranira is the CEO of Myspace Properties with extensive experience in real estate and property development. He has acquired acumen through hands-on experience in the USA, Dubai and Kenya. He is a graduate with extensive knowledge on all current economic, socio and real estate matters. Mwenda majored in real estate at the University of Dallas, Texas, and real estate courses at the International School of Real Estate in the USA. Mwenda is also a member of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, Kenya Property Developers Association, Nyali Business and Residents Association, and the Rotary International.
Mwenda, thank you so much for making time for us today. Now, when we talk about, let's get right to the question that a lot of people are asking right now with regards to property, houses and rent, is that, there's this debate that the onus of paying rent is actually on the landlord themselves who you're dealing with. The government may not have a directive necessarily saying, okay, everybody has to waive rent, but it's a case-by-case basis. So landlords are hopefully going to be understanding and say, okay, you know what, we understand this is a tough period, especially considering April. Up until March, a lot of businesses had something to go off on. But now when we're getting into April, the issue of rent comes up. What have you heard from a lot of landlords, property managers, when it comes to the issue of rent at such a time?
Okay, thanks, Maalika. Of course, being in the tough times in business, in everything in life, also everybody is affected, especially the tenants, the landlords. But as you know, in this country, or in the world, there are three kinds of landlords. Number one, landlords, they're the landlords who depend purely on this rent for their upkeep, for their living. That means they inherited the property, or they built a property and has a retirement package for themselves to be getting income out of it. So they don't have any other source of income apart from this. Number two, we have the landlords who are borrowed to build these properties. Of course, those ones, they use the bank. Basically, the house belongs to the bank.
So they're in a catch.
They are just administrators of that. We have number three. Number three, they are landlords who have many properties, many businesses. I mean, this is not a big thing. And those are the ones who can be philanthropic enough to give free rent, half rent, or something like that. But by the end of the day, the government cannot control that. And it will depend on the relationship between the tenant and landlord. Kama wewe ni yule wa kisungu mingi kutukana landlord, pambana na hali yako.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough for you. But basically, it will depend on your relationship with the landlord. Okay. Talk to them. They are not bad people. Many people paint landlord in a bad light and stuff like that, but they are not. I've seen some landlords giving free rent, giving half rent or something like that. But purely depends on your relationship with them.
When it comes to the second type of landlord, now the person who is, like you said, the house actually belongs to the bank because they're servicing that loan based on the income, the rent that's coming in every month. Is there some sort of understanding that they can then have with the banks? Because we did see the president's directive and of course the CBK's measures when it came to loan repayment and the understanding of banks. Has there been any word on that front?
They said they will waive out some payment or extend the period of payment of the loan. But as in Kenya, how that takes time to happen. It can be a directive, but for it to be actualized, it takes some time. So hoping it can be a reality. So especially the people who are borrowed they can be relieved a little bit. Of course, if you have to pay a loan, you took a loan to open a business, let's say to open a salon, a restaurant, a bar, and then you have closed, you have employees, you still have to pay them something to keep them going. I mean, it's very tough for entrepreneurs at the moment, and we are facing a lot of challenges, especially even with our tenants who we lease out businesses. They have closed down. The moment you start asking them for money, they are like, now you have seen the business is closed.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they have to understand it's your business too. So it's a catch-22.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a cycle. Everybody is affected from the other
Yes.
person. When we talk about the issue of now property development, you know, of course you must be knowing of a lot of people who are in construction. Have you seen that a lot of that has halted at the moment or not yet?
Yeah, of course, development is halted at the moment.
Okay.
You see, since last year, the last 2 years, of course, it has not been good for property developers. As you have seen, there are so many cases of incomplete projects. There are so many cases of stalled projects. There are so many cases of, for example, people paid for some land, they never got them, and stuff like that. And I mean, it's not been a good season, and this does not make it any better. In fact, it makes it worse. If somebody wanted to invest, for example, to do a project, of course, at the moment, they are holding back because working is a problem. You can't have many workers in the site. So we have to wait for the period to end so that we can get full throttle. But now you'll see there's a demand and supply thing. So because for the last 2 years, not many developments have really taken off in a good way. Like Nairobi, for the last 6 months, the approvals has been a problem. There have been no new approvals. There are so many pending approvals. So that shows there'll be a gap between demand and supply. So for me, I would say, if somebody has the cash, this is still the best time to build. I know it's a cycle, and real estate is a long-term business. It's not something you buy today, you sell tomorrow. You build a house to last 100 years. So, I mean, it's a cycle, long-term, and think more long-term if you're in that business. You have to have patience, you have to have a lot of faith, and a lot of hope that things will be better.
It's a long haul.
Yes.
When it comes to, of course, you know, going back to President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda, affordable housing is a big part of that. And, you know, we see year on year the housing deficit growing by 200,000 units, and it keeps rolling on. Do you think that private developers, how have you watched them get engaged in this process, and what more can they do? Of course, a pandemic aside for now, to keep on pulling forward that initiative to bring more houses into the market and affordability as well?
Yes, affordable housing is a way to go. But to start with, I'll start with the low, the completely low. There are people who cannot afford. There are people who cannot afford a rent of 2,000 a month. There are people who can, of course, mortgages out of touch for them. So when it comes to provision of housing, especially to the poor, it should be a government initiative. It's an infrastructure initiative. Just the way the government builds a road, that's the same, or a stadium. That's the same way it should build for the poor. We have seen it in other parts of the world where it works very well. But now when it comes to the other people who are working, is the streamlining the mortgage industry. We have seen right now they have established the Kenya Mortgage Company, which is a good step forward. With a proper mortgage structure, of course, not charging like the double digits like we see at the moment. A mortgage is 14 or 16%, whereas it's a long term and there's a more solid security. I mean, somebody to pay the same amount of mortgage they pay for a house as they pay for the car is unacceptable. When it comes to mortgage, since it's a long term, somebody can get a mortgage for 20 years, they should be able to get like 6%, 7%. If you go to other developed markets, the mortgage is 3%, 4% interest rate, which is a main hindrance of uptake of mortgage. We have seen in Kenya, we have less than 50,000 mortgages. Of course, that's way less than 1% with a population of 40 million Kenyans. So the mortgage needs to be streamlined. In fact, the government should be working more into fixing that, since if the people have the money, people can get mortgage to buy houses. the government will not need to build. In fact, the government will just need to build for the poor. The other guys working, they'll sort out themselves. The developers in this country can build more than any government if they have buyers. If they have guaranteed uptick, for them, they'll build every day.
Okay.
Yes.
Coming back to Myspace itself, now we've seen that, of course, you first had your full base in Mombasa, and now you've also come to Nairobi, and it's both areas. Is there a lot of, what kind of differences and factors do you see that are very different when it comes to property between Mombasa and Nairobi, for instance, or different areas really of the country?
Okay, Mombasa and Nairobi, of course, there's a big difference. Like in Mombasa, we were there for 10 years and we were well established. And of course, it took time before we go to that level when we know everybody, when we know who to deal with, when we build the clientele. I mean, it took some time. But now when it comes to Nairobi, it's like we had to introduce ourselves afresh. I mean, there are already guys existing in that business. And you don't come just in one day and push them off. I mean, you have to work with them till you get to...
And create your space.
Yeah, agree to split. Of course, collaboration is a key thing in this business. In real estate business, without collaboration, you're not going far. Since, let's say one person has the client, the other person has the buyer. So in one person has the seller, the other one has a buyer. So if you guys cannot get together and agree on something, you're not going anywhere. So in real estate, you always have to work with others and collaborate more, and that's what we have been doing. The difference between Nairobi and Mombasa, of course, you've seen Mombasa, there's more loyalty. If, for example, you have a client, even if somebody else comes and tells them how sweet ones, all the sweet ones, they cannot leave you. But Nairobi is about the value, it's about how much, it's about the time, it's about who is there at that particular time. There's no much loyalty in Nairobi. Also, Mombasa guys, they are more sincere. Probably to say that, but Mombasa guys, they are more sincere than Nairobi people.
So a bit more straightforward. They'll tell you
exactly
as it
They'll
is.
tell you, I know.
Okay.
But now when it comes to Nairobi people, sometimes tafanya PE mingi sana
It's a back
before
and
you
forth.
close a deal.
Okay.
Yes.
When we talk about you joining Ibuka, now that we've seen that your business has already moved forward, you've expanded, how has the journey been? It's been almost a year, I believe. What has Ibuka really helped your company achieve now, and how has it taken it to the next level? Because, of course, Ibuka is the NSE Acceleration Program. It brings in a sense of corporate governance and a lot of other things that can help elevate your business.
Yeah, of course, Ibuka has been a good part of us. Is no regrets whatsoever. I'm glad we joined Ibuka, and I would ask other small businesses to join this kind of a program. You see, like for my company, it is like a mom and pop company, where it started in the bedroom, me and my wife, then it went to the living room, then we went out to the office.
Okay.
So when you go to a journey like that, when like we have seen even many big businesses like Apple, Microsoft, they started in the garage, in the house. So once you start like that and you continue without injecting external knowledge, external expertise in your company, it's hard to grow. You can't grow to be a world-class company, which is what we are building. We are building a world-class company. But with the advice, especially, I've been working closely with NSE guys like Jeffrey Odudo. I've been working with Amish Gupta and Samuel Kimani. And their advice is very, very important, especially to corporate governance, building structures, especially for continuity, building, preparing books for the investors. Like right now, we are out there seeking for investors for our Minimos project, and we have been able to make inroads in one way or the other. And without somebody to show you like how to do the financial modeling, how to package your project for the investor.
Yes.
System they understand from the investor's perspective, as we understand from the ground perspective. So without that combination, it's hard to move forward. So I can say it's been a big blessing for us, and we are looking forward to working more and more with the NSE and other organizations which, of course, will make us create more concrete structures to run the business.
That's fantastic. When it comes to, like you said, you started this company with your wife, you had the idea and then it moved forward, and that's how a lot of businesses start. For new entrepreneurs out there who, especially at such a time, it's so tricky because like you said, it's tough out there. A lot of businesses have had to either completely ground or let go of staff right now, or at least minimize the operations. How would you say that they should cope? What are some of the best strategies and advice that you can give them to cope through such a time?
Okay. Of course, we are living in the tough times at the moment, especially even in our real estate construction industry. Of course, it's being a human-intensive industry where you need the laborers, you need many people. And right now, because people cannot be gathered in one place, like in a site, you always find it during lunch, they are all gathered in one place.
Yes.
During site meetings, which cannot happen at the moment. Of course, social distancing is a big challenge for us. And especially our real estate business is really affected, and many other business, hotel industry. I mean, for us, these are our tenants.
Yeah.
And we really need them to do business for them to be able to pay us. And now if they can't do business, of course, they're affected. But, not lost. Sometimes you have to be flexible in business. You have to do the business of the hour. For example, we have seen people dealing in scaling their heights in the medical industry, people selling masks, people selling manufacturing and selling sanitizers. Why should we be importing this? And also for the professors, it's about time they come up with the medicine or the cure for corona, so that why can't it be made here? We have professors, we have professionals in this research industry. They need to research on the cure or the vaccine for this corona. That's an business opportunity. And so many other things can be done. So all I can say is you have to move with the times. If this times is this the industry which you're driving, so be it. Work on it and make it happen. I mean, by the end of the day, it's very hard to just sit around and say, okay, it's over, it's done, nothing else to do.
Yeah.
That's not the way to go. I mean, we have to be innovative, we have to be flexible with the times.
Absolutely. Some great advice there, because of course you need to have hope as well. You need to try and keep positive as much as possible.
Yes.
Mwenda, when it comes to keeping your property safe, keeping it sanitized, because of course that's a big issue right now. Different materials, perhaps the virus can live different amounts of time and things like that. What would your advice be to people who own property and houses and different kinds of structures on how to keep them clean as much as possible, how to sanitize them the right way?
Of course, it's the duty of the landlords or the managers to advise the clients. Some of them don't really know. And like Myspace properties, we send circulars, we send memos out to all the properties which you manage on how to sanitize. Of course, we get the information from many places online. Then we try to share with our tenants as much as possible. But always as the landlord, of course, it's your duty to make sure, for example, you put signs, like for example, the people using the lift, to say there should be no than 4 people at a lift at one particular time. Also, where the people, for example, touching the lift, opening the doors, put a sanitizer thing around there. At the entrance, where people are walking in, put some water and some soap. Of course, that will help to keep this monster called corona away. But it's everybody's responsibility to make sure they learn on how to do it, especially keeping the environment clean, so that this monster does not come in our estates and spoils our way of living.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's just your final word, Mwenda, on perhaps how you are shoring yourself up to keep on going during this time as a company.
Of course, as a company, the most important thing for us is to be able to encourage the people we work with, to be able to encourage our partners, and of course, the most important is to be able to help our CSR and encourage other businesses to do the same, especially when it comes to the less fortunate in the society, like the homeless. Homelessness is a big thing in Kenya, but many people don't know it. Like last week, we just carried a small CSR event there at St. Mark's Bridge at the Westlands, near the mosque. I mean, there are people who live under the bridge, and we have like 50 people living there every day. These people have no running water, they have no kitchen, there's no sanitizer, there's nothing. Even they don't have blankets. Even I was able, at Myspace Properties, we are able to provide blankets for these people. Since the curfew starts at 7, it's cold. This guy has to go sit somewhere till morning without a blanket, without anything. Of course, that's a tough life. So we provided some blankets for them, some food stuff and stuff like that. So it's to encourage other entrepreneurs. Of course, if you have something to spare, and kupeana ni moyo, it's not that
Comes
somebody
from your
has a
heart.
lot, it's from the heart. Not that somebody has a lot of money so that they are able to give away. No, it's very important at this time. Let's show leadership. These are the people we do business with, or the people living in our community. If we don't take care of them, even this entrepreneurship will be a dream in this country. Since when somebody lacks food, they would rather go out, they would rather die by the bullet or corona than starve in the house of hunger. Can you imagine a man in the house with his 3 children and a wife, nothing to eat? What goes through the mind of that man?
Yeah.
That man will become insane to some level, and he will need to go out there and do whatever it takes to get something to eat for himself and his family. So as entrepreneurs at this time, let's watch, let's take care of each other, and most importantly, let's love the less fortunate. Let's do something for them.
Thank you so much, Mwenda. I think that's a message that a lot of us need to hear and embrace, and of course remember during this time. So thank you for joining us.
Most welcome, Maalika. Thank you for having me.
And there you go. A lot of insights coming in from Mwenda when it comes to understanding, when it comes to empathy between people, especially your landlord and yourself, and talking to them and being able to come to an understanding at such a crucial time. Of course, the only way we'll get through successfully is by being understanding, is by helping one another at such a time. So I'm hoping that we can all do that. Thank you for watching The Trading Bell. Keep up with us via our social media handles appearing on your screen. Remember, stay safe, keep on sanitizing, observing the rules that are being put in place for your safety. My name is Maalika Kazia. Thank you for watching.